128 teams have been in this tournament. We have knocked out 75% of the field. We are now down to the final 32 teams. This, folks, is the Global Trophy Finals of 2017. I'm Masterath, and I'm joined alongside Sam864 again.
Hello, how are we doing?
Yeah, going good. This is actually a different day completely, because I've had to try and find out what's wrong with my PS3 for the last hour and a half. That is how.
This is why I never had a PS3. I went straight to PS4. You see?
Yeah, well, I'm a Let's Player, so I kind of have to. But anyway, just the way it is. Recently reached a new subscriber milestone, 550. Cheers, guys. Yeah. Anyway, so I've uploaded my Guild of Dungeoneering video earlier today.
But enough plugging.
Nice, enough plugging. It's not really plugging if I'm plugging another channel of mine.
Which was months ago. Well, it would be about a month ago, wouldn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
When this was uploaded.
I may be up to 575, maybe 600 at some point, and then we'll have our race.
You'll see.
We'll see. Anyway, guys, so, if you don't know, or if you haven't watched any of the other videos, go check them out, and you'll find out the road to the Global Trophy Finals. The last 32 teams who have made it through. They have been able to win 2 matches in their qualifiers, which gives them a chance to fight for the Global Trophy title.
Yeah, this is it. This is the big one.
This is it. So, it's time for the 2017 Global Trophy Finals to begin.
Oh, yes.
So, we're going to kick off from lowest ranking to highest ranking. Not in the world, but in previous Global Trophy matches and Global Trophy tournaments that we've had over 13 years. So, first up, the lowest ranking team is Antigua and Barbuda. Recently made it through. Miraculously.
I still don't know how. They made it into the Global Trophy Finals and Argentina are out.
Yeah, that is extremely weird. Yeah. Antigua and Barbuda made it through by beating the Cayman Islands on penalties in the first round, and then beating Venezuela in the second round.
That's still a shock to me. I think Venezuela should have gone through there, but that's just by the by.
Before losing 8-0 to Brazil. They have only ever been in one other Global Trophy tournament, which was 2016, where they lost in the first round of the qualifiers.
But this year, their second attempt through to the finals.
Indeed. So, next up, we have... from Africa, I hope. Yes, they are. Liberia.
Yep, their first appearance in the Global Trophy Finals as well.
Yep, indeed. They made it through by... I've got to try and find this stuff now. They beat Sudan in the first round, 3-2. And then in the second round, beating Mali on penalties before losing out 2-1 to Tunisia in the quarterfinals.
It's a good effort, you know?
Yeah.
They've had a good tournament so far.
They've made it twice to the second round of the qualifiers, just one win away from becoming finalists in the Global Trophy tournament, and they lost out, both in 2010 and 2012.
Yes.
Next up, a fellow African team, Namibia.
I think this is their first appearance as well, isn't it?
It is their first appearance in the Global Trophy Finals. Their run to the Global Trophy Finals, a 2-1 victory over Kenya, and then
that's a big result for them.
Yep, and then a 2-0 victory over Equatorial Guinea before losing 10-0 to Nigeria in spectacular fashion. Yeah,
Nigeria are pretty mental when it comes to the African section.
Exactly. They've made it to the second round of the qualifiers three times, in 2005, 2009, and last year, in fact, 2016.
Yeah, but they've got one better this year. They've finally made it to made the trip to the table of the Global Trophy Finals.
Yep, so they're making their debut in the Global Trophy Finals.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Antigua and Barbuda have not been selected. Get selected, you gits. Right, there we go. Next up, we have from the Americas, which is good that I went back to the Americas for that. Guatemala.
Also making their debut.
Yep, making their debut. Guatemala, their run to the finals include a shocking 1-0 victory over Peru, followed by a 1-0 victory over St. Kitts and Nevis before losing 6-1 to Mexico in the quarterfinals.
But they've done enough to get to where they need to be.
Yep, they have made it to the qualifiers round 2 4 times in 2009, 2012, 2014, and last year, 2016. Next up, we have a team that, under the current rulings, would have already made it through to a Global Trophy Finals, but obviously this is a long time ago. Jamaica!
Yes.
Making their debut in the Global Trophy Finals. They've made it to the qualifiers quarter-final before, but that was when, in the American tournaments, only 4 teams went through.
Yep, in recent years, the changes to the Oceania section meant that 4 more teams from the Americas enabled themselves to get through to the Global Trophy Finals. As a result, Jamaica are now here.
Yep, Jamaica.
The first time.
Jamaica made it to the quarter-final qualifiers in 2005, their best run until today.
12 years in the making, they're finally in the Global Trophy.
Yep, their rounds went, in the first round, they beat Canada 2-0, and then went on to beat Grenada in the second round 1-0 before losing 6-0 to Chile. Sorry, 8-0 to Chile.
How will they do here? They've got an opportunity because there are weaker teams than them in the Global Trophy, so they might make it a bit further than the first round.
Indeed. So, now it's time to meet the teams who have already been in Global Trophy Finals. There are 27 of them altogether. First up is a team that has been to only 1 Global Trophy Finals, and that was all the way back in 2005. 13 years ago, they're back. Uruguay.
Yeah, Uruguay have been a force in world football for many years. They've won 2 World Cups in the real world. However, in this tournament, they've never had the best of success. Maybe this time, Uruguay can do some good work. Yep,
Uruguay's run in the Global Trophy. They actually made it to the semi-finals of their qualifiers. They beat El Salvador 3-1 in the first round before a 1-0 win against Aruba put them through to the Global Trophy Finals. And then, just to add insult to injury, a penalty victory over Ecuador put them through to the semis, but they only lost 2-0 to Brazil.
Which is a good performance. They're in a good form so far, Uruguay. Maybe they could be a slight dark horse.
You never know. You never know. And now it's time for our first qualifier champions to step forward. The first one, actually, Czech Republic.
Yeah, Czech Republic winning the European section shockingly against France.
Yes, they have made it. This is their 5th Global Trophy Finals. After being knocked out in the first round of the Global Trophy Finals in 2010, 2012, 2013, and 2015.
Yeah, but a recent good run of form in the Global Trophy in the last few years. They've always seemed to be there or thereabouts, and this year they've got a good opportunity to go even further than before.
Indeed, and at the moment they are undefeated.
They are. They're one of 4 undefeated teams.
Yep. Next up, we have Tunisia.
They had a good run, didn't they? They made the semi-finals of the African section, and they had a pretty good form throughout. Maybe they could be, dangerous to watch as well.
Yes, Tunisia's run started off with a 3-1 win over Libya, followed by a 2-0 win over Zimbabwe, and a 2-1 win over Liberia in the quarterfinals, before losing 6-0 once again to Nigeria.
Nigeria are a dangerous team, aren't they?
Yeah, Tunisia's best run has been a round 2 defeat in 2005. That's their best run so far.
Yeah, maybe this year could be a better result for them.
Yep, they've made it past round 1 before. Next up is... I hope I'm in the right continent. That's what you need. You need like a lot of knowledge of countries and where they are in the world. Thailand is next up.
Yep, one of the Asian section teams. They had quite a decent run this time around. Maybe they could do some good work once again in the finals, but they'll come up against some stern opposition, I'm sure.
Yeah, the lowest ranked team in the Global Trophy to be from Asia. Their runs started out with a 2-0 victory over Papua New Guinea, followed by a 2-1 win over Indonesia to take them through, and then a 2-1 defeat to Australia.
There's no shame in that.
Their best run in the Global Trophy was in 2008, where they made it to the second round of the Global Trophy Finals.
There you go. So maybe Thailand could rekindle some of that form.
We'll see about that. Next up, a team named Sweden.
They had a great performance this year, knocking out some big favourites, including Italy, to get to, I think they went to semi-finals, didn't they, of the European section?
Yes, they did, in fact. Their run started off with a penalty victory over Serbia, followed by a 1-0 win over Italy, and a 2-0 win over Hungary before France beat them 3-0 in the semi-finals.
Wow, there you go. But they knocked out Italy. Italy, former runners-up, of course, of the Global Trophy, so they're no slouches. Just proving how strong Sweden have been thus far.
Indeed, and Sweden's best run, round 2. They made it to round 2 in 2014 of the Global Trophy Finals.
There you
go. Next up, if I can find them, there they are, from Asia, Bangladesh.
Now, unfortunately for Bangladesh, they are the dud team for this tournament.
Yep, sadly being ranked to the 183 in the world. That puts Bangladesh as the lowest ranked team in the Global Trophy Finals, and therefore the dud.
For the finals, which is a shame for them. Their journey comes to an end in the last 32. But, I think they can be happy with their performance. They've done what they can, and, it's not down to their own fault that they've been ranked low for this game, so they can bow out with pride, I think.
Bangladesh, in fact, made it to the semi-finals with a 1-0 victory over Lebanon, followed by 2 penalty victories. A penalty victory over Qatar and Saudi Arabia, before losing to Australia on penalties in the semis.
Yes, good effort from Bangladesh as well to beat Saudi Arabia, the most successful Asian team.
Yeah, and their best run in this tournament was in 2007, where they made it to the second round. Next up from Europe, we have Ukraine.
They had a decent run in the European section. They beat Russia, which is quite a scalp to claim for the Ukrainians, but of course the Global Trophy Finals is a different kettle of fish. There's much more stern opposition than that. Yep,
Ukraine made it to the semi-finals, where they beat Romania 1-1 on penalties in the first round, beating Russia on penalties in the second round, and beating Greece 1-0 in the quarter-finals, before losing out to the Czech Republic, the current European winners, 2-1 in the semis.
Good effort though from Ukraine. They had a good solid run, and they claimed a good few scalps.
Indeed, and they have actually made it to the Global Trophy Finals second round twice, in 2009 and 2014.
Yes.
Next up is a former Asian winner, Japan.
Semi-finalists this time around. Or were they finalists?
I'll just double check that.
I think they were.
They were finalists, yep, to be knocked out by Australia.
Yep.
Japan's run saw them beat Bahrain in the first round, 3-0, before a 2-0 victory against Kuwait put them through to the Global Trophy Finals. They kept going though with a 2-0 victory over New Zealand and a victory over China by penalties, but they did lose 2-0 to the eventual champions of the Asian qualifiers, Australia.
But there's no shame in that. Australia, of course, unbeaten in local competition. When it comes to the Global Trophy, though, Australia's form does seem to dip. We will see how they get on this time around, of course. Japan, dark horses for maybe a quarter-final spot this time around.
You never know. Japan has made it to the second round of the Global Trophy only twice, but in succession, 2012 and 2013.
Absolutely.
Next up, it's a team from the Americas. It's Ecuador.
Former America's champions.
Yep, and their run in the Americas this year was no slouch, to be honest. Made it to the quarterfinals and lost on penalties to Uruguay. Their wins involve a 3-0 win over Costa Rica and a victory 1-0 over the USA.
Yeah, the USA not making it to the Global Trophy Finals. Could Ecuador spring a few surprises here? Maybe they could.
Ecuador has made it to the second round of the Global Trophy only twice, with second round appearances in 2007 and 2015.
Yeah, so they're back where they probably deserve to be.
Next up, we have Algeria.
Another African nation they've had a decent year as well. I think they made the semis, I want to say.
It was quarters.
Oh, it was quarters. Okay.
Yeah. Their run in the tournament stood as a penalty victory over Sierra Leone before defeating Ivory Coast in the second round and then losing 2-0 to Morocco in the quarterfinals.
There's no shame to losing to Morocco. Morocco are a very good team, and I think Algeria as well. They can be happy with making it the finals, and again they've got a chance at maybe some quarterfinal glory this time around.
Algeria have made it to 2 round 2 victories, or round 2 losses, round 2 performances, round 2 appearances, whatever you want to say, in 2008 and 2012. Now move on to our next team, Saudi Arabia.
Yes, the the most successful Asian team, winning the Asian section 4 times.
Yeah, their run, they did okay, I guess. Just getting up and just saying, yeah, they did alright. It was a semi-final, or a quarter-final, where Bangladesh beat them on penalties that knocked them out. But a 1-0 victory over India and a 3-0 victory over Oman. Two teams who are very good.
Yep, they've had a good effort from Saudi Arabia once again. Possibly not the strongest team from Asia, but they've had some good success in the past.
Yep, Saudi Arabia has made it to the second round of the Global Trophy, the final 16, 3 times in 2005, 2011 and 2016.
There we go.
Next up we have our first team from Oceania, New Zealand. Indeed. That's all you got to say about that, really, isn't it? New Zealand, their run started out with a penalty victory over Iraq, and then a 1-0 win against Uzbekistan got them through to the finals, before a 2-0 loss to Japan sealed their fate in the quarters.
I think, we've got a good effort from them, but we'll have to see how they get on in the Global Trophy finals this time around.
New Zealand have made it to the final 16 on 3 occasions in 2009, 2010 and 2013.
And they are one of 2 Oceania teams that have made it to the Global Trophy finals.
Indeed, and our next team is a team that is no slouch. As much as people are there going, until Aubameyang came along, we don't know what this team is. But even in this game, and in this series, they've made it to a fair few Global Trophy finals. It's Gabon.
Yeah, Gabon have got a decent enough side and could do some good work again. They're one of the, I think we're about halfway through the grand finalists teams now, and you have to say the fact that they've made it this far shows just how much of a force they could be.
With a 1-0 victory over Congo in the first round, followed by a 2-1 victory over Guinea in the second, before losing 2-0 to South Africa in the quarterfinals of this series.
Yeah, Gabon have got an opportunity here to make some movements.
But Gabon have been in Global Trophy finals before, a fair few of them, including 3 round 2 appearances in 2009, 2012 and 2014. Our next team... Oh, sorry.
Go on, it's alright.
Alright. Our next team is the only team to ever be undefeated in local competition, Australia, currently ranked 14th for this series.
Maybe this could be their year to go into the higher reaches of the Global Trophy tournament. Australia, they've proven their worth year after year in the local qualifiers, but they've never done that well in the main competition.
Australia won the Asian qualifiers fairly, I wouldn't say as convincingly as some people may have thought. A good start though, a 7-0 victory over Vietnam, a 1-0 victory over the Philippines, a 2-1 victory over Thailand, a penalty victory over Bangladesh, and a 2-0 victory over Japan gave them their 13th title, qualifier title.
But they've never made it further than the quarterfinals, I want to say.
Round 2.
Oh, really? Just round 2?
They've had 5 appearances in the top 16. In 2006, 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2014.
But maybe this... I think they've got a good chance this year. As long as they avoid a big name early on, they've got a good chance of doing that.
Indeed. Now we're getting to the teams who have made it to Global Trophy quarterfinals before.
The serious teams.
There are 13 of these teams. And first up is Hungary.
The Hungarians have... they've always been a solid team, but they've... sometimes they don't have the best of success in the European section, but they did well this year. I think they made the semi-finals, didn't they? Or the quarters?
It was the quarters. A 1-0 victory over Switzerland in the first match of the Global Trophy put them through to round 2, where they beat Denmark 2-1, before a 2-0 defeat to Sweden in the quarterfinals put them out of the qualifiers.
Sweden very well this year.
But through, and their best performance is a 7th place in 2006.
Well, maybe they've got a chance this year of rekindling some of that form. We'll see.
Well, next up, we're going to America again, and we're going for Chile.
Former America's winners as well. They've got a very decent chance of some big performances in this Global Trophy finals.
Chile kicked off their run with a 2-1 victory over Bolivia before a penalty win over Paraguay put them through before destroying Jamaica in the quarterfinals 8-0. And then a 1-0 defeat to Mexico put them out in the semis.
Still a good effort though, and I think, considering it was only against Mexico that they lost, I think that shows just how much of a good team they could be, and I think that they've got a good opportunity of making some good progress in this tournament. We'll have to wait and see, considering the caliber of some of the teams here. They have to think they're one of the stronger ones.
Yeah, and Chile's best run is a 7th place in 2013. Next up is time to go back to Africa with Morocco.
Finalists this time around. They've never actually won the African section, but they've always been very consistent, and they've always turned up and played well. So maybe Morocco can do some good work as well.
Runner-up in the African qualifiers, until they lost to Nigeria, they had not let in a single goal in this year's qualifiers.
That's impressive. That is very impressive.
A 2-0 victory over Zambia kicked things off before a 7-0 drubbing against Guinea-Bissau, a 2-0 victory over Algeria, a penalty win 0-0 against South Africa, before Nigeria beat them 1-0.
That's a very good performance, considering the score lines that Nigeria were dishing out. Only to lose 1-0 is very impressive.
Morocco have finished 6th place twice in the Global Trophy in 2008 and 2012.
There you go.
Next up, we're moving back to Asia with one of the most successful teams in the Global Trophy for Asia. I believe the second most successful Asian team in the Global Trophy, China.
Yeah, the Chinese making the semi-finals in the Asian section, and former winners of the Asian section as well. But and they also hold one of the best records for Asia, as Chris just mentioned, in the Global Trophy finals. Maybe this could be their year.
They nearly levelled that, though, with a 15-0 victory over North Korea in the first round, which was a tale of things to come. A penalty victory over Turkmenistan put them through, and a 1-1 victory penalty decision over South Korea put them through to the semis, before penalties struck once again, but this time against them, with a 1-1 loss on penalties to Japan.
Yeah, the fact that they've won over South Korea, who is Asia's most successful team in the finals, says quite a lot, and I think they've got to hope that their form carries on here, China.
Yeah, they are ranked number 10 in this tournament, the 10th best team from previous runs, including their best run, 5th place in 2014.
There you go.
Next up, we're going back to the Americas now with Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico finalists once again, and they also eliminated the dangerous Argentina in the first round.
Yeah, it's a 2-1 victory over Argentina, followed by drubbings of 7-0 against Cuba and 6-1 against Guatemala. And then a 1-0 win at Chile put them through to the finals before they were thrashed 5-1 by Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil looked dangerous, but I think Mexico can take a lot of heart from the fact that they beat Argentina early on. I think that was a big move for them. I don't think many people were expecting that. I mean, we both predicted that Argentina would be the eventual winners of this tournament, so the fact that they went out in the first round is quite funny, but there you go.
Well, there you go, and it's been 10 years since Mexico got their best ever run in the Global Trophy. 4th place. They made it to the semi-finals of the Global Trophy in 2007.
But they are one of the higher ranked teams in this tournament as well, so you have to think they could do very well here.
Next up, another team that finished 4th. They are ranked number 8, Greece.
Yes, beating the current Global Trophy champions and knocking them out, Spain, in the second round in Europe. I think they can be very happy with that result already.
Indeed. Greece's run went a 4-1 victory against Northern Ireland to a 2-1 victory over Spain, before being knocked out by the Ukraine in the quarterfinals 1-0.
I think they'll be happy with that, though. I think, even if they went out in the first round, I think they'll be quite happy with the fact that they knocked the champions off their pedestal.
Exactly, and Greece's best run in 2014 was 4th place.
There you go.
They are currently
they might have no money, but they've got a lot of spirit.
Exactly. So now it's time for our top 7. All 7 of these teams have made it 3rd place or higher.
There you go.
So next up, once again, representing Europe here, we have the Netherlands.
They're always a dark horse. I know you always expect them to do quite well, but they've never really quite put it together. They've won the European section in the past, maybe this could be their year. They're a very dangerous team, and I think, my money could be on them for a strong result today.
With a 4-0 victory over the Republic of Ireland and a 2-1 win over Turkey before losing on penalties to the eventual winner of the European qualifiers, the Czech Republic. That's how Greece made it here. That's how Holland made it here. Netherlands, yeah.
Yeah, they're a dangerous team on their day, and I think they could be. I think they are dark horses. I really do.
Their best run was 3rd place 10 years ago in 2007.
I think that was the year that they won the European section, wasn't it?
I believe it might have been, yes.
We will double check that. I'm sure Chris will edit something in and say yes, it was. No, it wasn't.
Probably would be. While I'm doing that, I might as well check it. They won it in 2011.
Oh, okay. Ignore me.
So yeah, there you go. So yeah, 4 years after. Anyway, next up it is South Africa.
South Africa, they finished. They finished in the top 4 in the African section. Maybe they've got a good bit of history in this tournament as well.
Yes, they do. A 1-0 victory over Uganda, followed by a 2-0 victory over Senegal, and a 2-0 win over Gabon. They are one of the only, if not the only team to have not let in a single goal in this tournament so far.
Oh, really? They lost on penalties?
They lost 0-0 on penalties to Morocco in the semi-finals, which ended their run in the African qualifiers, but no team has gotten past their goalkeeper so far in 4 games.
Oh, wow. That's very impressive.
And their best run, they've got 3rd place twice. One of the only teams to ever successfully defend their 3rd place. They won it in 2014. They successfully defended it in 2015. 2-time 3rd place.
Wow, we could see some big performances from them. Hopefully, they don't get too beaten up early on.
Next up, these are the top 5 teams. All 5 of these teams have made it to the Global Trophy Grand Final before.
Yep.
And first up, we have South Korea.
Yes, the most successful Asian team in this tournament, finishing 2nd and 4th in the past 2 seasons. They've really stepped up their game, and I think the hopes are being carried with them, and I think they've got a great chance of performing well here.
An 11-0 victory over Fiji, followed by, once I can lock my eyes on it, there it is, a 1-0 victory over Syria, before a penalty defeat to China, but it was more than enough for them to go through to another Global Trophy finals.
Here's the thing, they've never actually won the Asian section of the Global Trophy. With that said, you have to think, they'll take that, but maybe they could do with a bit of assistance doing that one day,
With the highest ranking team currently eliminated, South Korea are the best performing team from 2016's tournament, still in, when they won the runner-up last year.
So they are the highest rated team in the Global Trophy so far this season. Yep,
and when it comes to overall runs, with these 32, they are ranked number 5.
There you go.
Next up at rank 4, the most successful team in all of Africa. It's Nigeria.
Yep, the now 6-time African champions. They're unbeaten in African competition since 2015. They've come a long way. I think this could be a year for Nigeria to remember. I really do.
Nigeria's run kicked off with a 2-0 victory over local rivals Cameroon before a penalty victory over Burkina Faso put them through. But a 10-0 victory over Namibia, 6-0 against Tunisia, and a 1-0 victory over Morocco. They are another team who has not let in a single goal.
Very impressive, and I think Nigeria are going to be ones to watch in this Global Trophy. I think this could be the year an African team goes and wins the whole thing. That's who my money is on to go win this tournament.
It has been 11 years since Nigeria has made it to the Global Trophy Grand Finals, where they finished runners-up in 2006.
There we go.
And now we get to the big guns, the teams who have won Global Trophies before.
Yep.
First up, one-time winners, Germany.
Yeah, the Germans winning in 2013. But they've never really had success outside of that. In Europe, they've never won either. They've never held a European title. Germany, very standalone team in that respect. But you never know. They've got a great chance once again of a decent run in this tournament.
With a 4-0 victory over Belarus and a 2-0 victory over Slovakia, it was enough for Germany to go through before a 3-1 loss to France took them out.
no shame in losing to France, though.
And as Sam said, they are former winners of this tournament. Only once. They won it in 2013.
Absolutely.
Next up, former two-time winners, Brazil.
The current America's champions, they won the Global Trophy in 2010 and 15. Maybe this year they could regain that title. I think Chris, you said yesterday that your money's on Brazil to go and win this thing.
It is, yeah. That or Germany, I'd say.
There you go.
Brazil, their run started with a 3-0 victory over Colombia before a 3-0 victory of St. Vincent and the Grenadines put them through. An 8-0 demolition against Antigua and Barbuda in the quarterfinals with a 2-0 win over Uruguay in the semis and a 5-1 drubbing against Mexico in the finals gave them their title.
They've only conceded 1 goal so far this tournament, Brazil, but they've got a good chance here, haven't they? They're a team to be respected for sure.
Definitely a good chance. They're ranked number 2 at the moment, and as Sam said, winners in 2010, 2015. They are the most recent champions to be in this Global Trophy final. And last but not least, a team that has not seen Global Trophy glory in 8 years.
It's France.
They are ranked number 1. It's France.
Yes, the very first winners of the Global Trophy, and they were the holders of the European section until the Czech Republic knocked them off their pedestal.
Yeah, not only are they the first winners of the Global Trophy, but they're also the first teams to become 2-time and 3-time Global Trophy winners, winning 3 titles in 5 years.
Since then, nothing.
Yep, since then, nothing indeed. Their run started off with a 2-0 victory over Portugal, followed by a 7-0 victory over Iceland, then a 3-1 win over Germany, a 3-0 victory over Sweden before a penalty shootout took them out against the Czech Republic in the finals.
And they complete our lineup.
Yep, with France winning in 2005, 2007 and 2009. It's been 8 years since France has won the Global Trophy. Is this their time?
Can they become the first ever 4-time champion? It would be appropriate, they were the first to finish, to win, first to come second, get a 2-time champion and then a 3-time champion. It would be appropriate if they were to become the first to become a 4-time champion as well.
In the 13th Global Trophy. So, that is all the teams. Bangladesh will be the dud team. Let's go, and hope it does it first time. It's done it first time! Hooray! Bloody hell, awesome.
Wow.
Alright, nice.
We can actually carry this on.
We're going to definitely carry this on. We don't even need to bother with doing that. But we have to make small talk a bit while I type in the names.
Of course. So, as we've said already, my money's on Nigeria to go and win this time. You said Brazil. There are also other mini awards every year as well. You've got the biggest surprise of the season, compared to like rank or whatever.
Yep.
Biggest scores and whatnot. Why don't you run us through the biggest scores while you're at it?
I'm writing it. I'm typing stuff down, but you got the sheet, so you can.
So obviously in history, the current record is 19-0, held by Iran and Morocco, both in 2013. And now, of course, you got teams like Australia, who have been in this final 13 times in a row now. Possibly, we could see them do quite well. I think they've got a really good chance of finishing in the top, 8 or maybe even 4 if they get a good enough draw.
Yes, and so here we go. Our first half. You can see here some very interesting games, in fact. But let's go straight to our first match, which is China versus Ecuador.
For a chance to get into the last 16. I think both of these two have been there before.
They have both been there before. Ecuador have been there, twice that we know of. China's been there a fair few times, I believe. But they have obviously finished 5th before, so China's got to be the favourite here, really.
I'd say, yeah, definitely.
But it goes to Ecuador first one. Ecuador are through to their 3rd round 2.
Fair play to Ecuador. They've done exactly what they needed to do, and they have, they've made it through.
Yep, next up is the Czech Republic, the champions of Europe, versus Jamaica.
My money's got to be on Czech Republic here. I think, they are the European champions, and they've got a great opportunity of going quite far in this tournament.
And a 2-0 victory agrees with you. Jamaica out in round 1, but a good run for them, I think, to get there.
Yeah, their debut in the Global Trophy, and I think they can be very happy with that.
Yeah,
In the Global Trophy final, sorry.
Yeah, Czech Republic going through for their first ever second round, and they will take on Ecuador. One of those teams is going to make it to their first ever quarterfinals in the Global Trophy finals.
There we go.
Next up, it's a bit of a crunch match. Germany versus Mexico.
Two big favourites, they've both got great potential of making it through, lofty ambitions for the pair of them.
Winners in 2013 versus fourth in 2007. And the win goes to Mexico.
Germany fall.
Germany fall in round one. A 1-0 victory for Mexico puts them through.
That's quite disappointing for Germany, I'd say. I think they can be, they'll be very disappointed with that result.
Yes, and next up, the dud team. Bangladesh battle New Zealand.
So New Zealand make it through.
New Zealand have made it through. Will they actually be able to surpass Australia this round?
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? What a story that would be for them.
So, with the dud team obviously going out, New Zealand will be going through to their fourth second round in the Global Trophy.
They have got Mexico, which is going to be a very stiff ask, but you never know. Strange things have happened.
You never know. And while this is going on, I'll tell you the next match, which is going to be Guatemala versus Greece.
The G's at it.
The Battle of the G's.
Yeah.
And you can't teach that. Anyway, so we'll move on. The other matches, we've got another crunch match coming up, by the way.
Oh, good.
Battle between a team that has finished second and a team that has finished first.
Oh, wow.
That's probably going to be the biggest match, unless we have, like, France. Actually, no, that's not going to happen, but yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, so New Zealand through. They will take on Mexico in round 2. Next up is Greece versus Guatemala.
Money's on Greece for this one, I'd say.
Well, it's the biggest win in the Global Trophy Finals this year. 6-0 to Greece.
Good performance from Greece. They're having a good tournament, aren't they? They're quietly making good progress, and I think they'll be happy with this.
Yep, they will take on the winner of our next match, Sweden versus Ukraine.
Tough one to call, this one. I think they play each other already, haven't they? They haven't played each other already. They're on other sides of the draw. But my money's probably going to go for Sweden on this one.
Oh, it was a close match. Sweden 3, Ukraine 4.
Wow, what a result for Ukraine.
Ukraine go through to round 2 to take on Greece.
Fair play to them.
They're making it to their third second round. Next up, it's South Korea versus Brazil.
Oh no. Poor old South Korea.
Yeah, Brazil have knocked him out. Second place gone. Brazil with a 3-1 victory.
Well, the fairy tale for South Korea is over. They've had quite a poor year in many respects, so I think they'll be a bit disappointed by that. But they've made another Global Trophy Finals. They've had a good adventure once again.
Yep. Next up, it is Algeria was made at the second round twice versus 7th place in 2006 Hungary.
It's a tough one to call this one. I'd say probably Hungary are the favourites though.
See, it is a 2-1 victory for Hungary.
They're through to the last 16.
They will battle Brazil.
That's a big ask.
It's a big ask, but you never know. Hell, we've seen Germany go out already to Mexico, so anything is possible. Like this next match, it's Australia, and they battle Gabon.
Tough one to call, this one. I'd probably say Australia are the favourites, though.
They have gone through. It's a 3-1 victory for Australia.
Australia are having a good global trophy, aren't they? They're doing very well at the moment, and I'd say they're winding up quite nicely. Yep,
they've gone through to their 6th second round in global trophy. Oh god, I've just noticed the next match. It's Antigua and Barbuda versus Liberia.
Wow.
One of these teams is going to make history here.
Yep.
And it's going to be Liberia. A 3-0 win puts them through to round 2.
So Liberia, in their first ever finals, make it to round 2.
Yes. And our next...
play Australia.
Ooh, our next match is another crunch match. It's Chile versus South Africa.
I'd say probably Chile are the favourites here, but not going to be an easy task for them.
Ooh, South Africa have done it. 2-0 win over Chile.
Great performance from South Africa there.
Our next match, it's Uruguay versus France.
That's a tough match as well. Wow.
So we've seen Brazil through. If France go out now...
then Brazil are the only winners left in.
Exactly. but they haven't gone out. 4-0 to France.
Great performance.
They are on a roll. They will battle South Africa, which is no easy task.
But it's, I'm sure they'll take it.
Next up, it is the Netherlands versus Japan.
I'd say probably the Dutch are the favourites here.
Ooh, just barely. A penalty win for Holland puts them through.
There you go. Through to the last 16.
Yep. They will battle the winner of our next match, which is Saudi Arabia or Namibia.
Probably say Saudi Arabia are the favourites here.
Can they do it? Can Saudi Arabia finally... I think, have they made it to the second round before? Oh, they have, yeah. Can they make it to their fourth second round? Yes, they can. A 5-0 victory says so.
Good performance from Saudi Arabia there, but they've got a tough ask against the Netherlands next up. But, you know, I'm sure they'll give it a good go.
Yep, our next match. Once I've misspelt Saudi Arabia, but never mind. We'll skip over that. Tunisia versus Thailand.
Tough one to call, but I'd probably say that Tunisia are the favourites here.
Okay, let's have a look and see, shall we? They do, in fact, win 2-0.
They're through.
But it's a big match to finish off the first round. It's Morocco versus Nigeria.
A repeat of the final of the African section.
The winner takes on Tunisia in the second round, and it's Nigeria who wins it.
There you go, they've done the business there.
1-0 was all it took. So we're in to the second round.
Tough break for Morocco, but Nigeria, of course, you know, they're hard to beat, aren't they? And I think that was a good result for them.
Indeed, and our first match is Ecuador versus the Czech Republic for a chance in the quarterfinals.
For the first time for either of them.
Actually, no. Yes, it is, actually.
Oh, it is, wow.
Yeah, it is. Czech Republic's best has been round 1, and Ecuador have made it here only twice, so they've never made it further. And the win goes to Czech Republic in convincing style. 4-0.
Tell you what, Czech Republic are having a great year, aren't they? They're having a great tournament.
They will battle the winner of the next match, Mexico or New Zealand.
Money's got to be on Mexico here, surely.
Yeah, Mexico, 4th place in 2007. They're through, 3-0. A good performance from Mexico as well. It's going to be a very good quarterfinal, that is.
Brave performance from New Zealand, but their journey comes to an end.
Indeed, Australia's still in, and looking at their opponents, they're going to beat Liberia. But you never know.
Yep.
Next up is Greece versus Ukraine.
Tough one.
Ooh, penalties decides it, and it goes to Greece.
The Greeks go through to the quarterfinals.
They will take on either Brazil or Hungary.
Probably say Brazil.
Yeah, well, we've had Hungary, who have former 7th place. Brazil have won the title twice already, looking for a third here. Ooh, and it took only 1 goal to settle it. It was a win for Brazil.
But they are through. The America's champions still in.
Next up is Australia versus Liberia.
All 4 section champions are still in at the moment.
I believe so, yeah.
And
Australia 1. Liberia 2.
Liberia make it through.
Liberia are in the quarterfinals.
Australia have choked in the last 16 once again.
This is a team whose best run before this was round 2 of the qualifiers.
And they're in the quarterfinals.
They are in the top 8.
What a performance from Liberia.
Liberia are through, and they will take on either South Africa or France.
Probably France.
Yes, France are through. 2-0 win over South Africa. Liberia takes on France in the quarterfinals.
That's a bit of a fairy tale. Liberia get to play against the former champions.
Yeah, this is definitely a fairy tale for Liberia, which could turn into a nightmare. Next up, it is Holland. It's the Netherlands versus Saudi Arabia.
Tough match for both, but I'd say Holland are the favourites for this one.
Yep. Saudi Arabia have never made it past this stage.
Nope.
And they still haven't. A 2-0 win for Holland puts them through to the quarterfinals.
Great performance from them.
They will take on the winner of our next match, Tunisia or Nigeria. 2 very good teams.
Nigeria are probably the favourites here.
Excuse me. They do go through. Nigeria are through. 3-0 winners over Tunisia.
So, our top 8. A very interesting top 8 as well.
Yes, I believe only 2 teams out of these have never been in the top 8 before.
Being Czech Republic and Liberia.
Yep, the only 2 teams, but the rest of them have made it through and have finished in the top 8 before. Here we go, the final 8 teams.
Get into crunch time now.
Czech Republic versus Mexico first. The winners go through to the Global Trophy semi-finals. And the run ends for Czech Republic.
Mexico through again.
Mexico through. So they can have a big chance of either replicating or beating their best run in the Global Trophy. They've obviously finished 4th in 2007, 10 years ago. They're back in the semi-finals for the first time again.
In 10 years, wow, what a performance from Mexico. They've had a good season. They beat Argentina and now they've got a chance at the semi-finals, but Czech Republic can hold their heads high. You know, they've won the European section, and a quarter-final place is it's a good effort from them.
They may want to try and get some revenge against Brazil. They're up next against Greece. It's a 2-0 win for Brazil. They are through. We're going to have a rematch of the Americas final this year in the semis.
There you go. Brazil are 2 matches away from getting a 3rd Global Trophy final. Maybe they could do it.
Will the fairy tale continue? It's Liberia versus France. No, it won't. That's a shame. But it was only a 2-0 win for France. Very good performance from Liberia this year.
Yeah, the top 8 finish for them is very respectable, and I think they'll take that very nicely.
And our next match is the Netherlands versus Nigeria.
This is a big crunch match. This is probably the closest match of the quarterfinals.
It is a big crunch match. Nigeria's best run has been runner-up. Holland's best run, 3rd. And the win goes to the Netherlands. The last team in America is gone. In Africa is gone, yeah.
So we've got 2 European teams against two America's teams.
Once again, as usual, it's France, Holland, Mexico, Brazil.
Wow.
First up, Mexico,
very
Brazil.
tense.
Mexico have done it!
They've beaten Brazil!
They've got it! They've got their revenge on Brazil! They are in the finals!
Wow, what an opportunity this is for Mexico.
Their first ever finals!
Wow.
Can Netherlands do it as well? And then we'll have a first-time winner. This is the perfect time now for France to take the title back, but they need to get past the Netherlands, which they do! 1-0!
Wow, what a performance from France with the pressure's on.
They are in the finals.
But Mexico are not going to just roll over and die.
Mexico versus France, the grand final of the Global Trophy 2017, and your winner is... It's France!
For the first time in 8 years, France lift the trophy.
It's taken them 8 years to win back the Global Trophy. France are now the first ever 4-time Global Trophy champions.
Wow. I mean, Mexico deserve a lot of credit for finishing 2nd place.
Definitely.
But what a story from France there. They did just enough.
Mexico beat 2 teams with a total 5 Global Trophies between them.
They couldn't quite topple France.
6, actually. They beat Germany as well. So to make it here, they beat 3 former Global Trophy winners.
But not the 4th. They couldn't quite topple the 4th.
They could not get the 4th. And that means that France are the 2017 Global Trophy champions. We finally have a 4-time champion.
For the first time in 8 years, France have finally stepped up. And, I think they deserve it. They did the best job they possibly could. All throughout the qualifiers as well, only finishing runner-up there. I think that ultimately they just, they played enough. They got the results where they needed to, and they deserve their 4th title.
So for people who want to know, the top 8 rankings for next year's Global Trophy, 2018 Global Trophy, go like this: number 1, France; number 2, Mexico; number 3, the Netherlands; number 4, Brazil; number 5, Liberia; number 6, Czech Republic; Number 7, Nigeria. Number 8, Greece.
So there we go.
So
what a year it's been.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant year. So France lift the title for the first time in 8 years, and Liberia are now ranked 5th for the next tournament. Oh, God help us.
Yeah, it's an odd one.
It has been a brilliant run here at the Global Trophy. I hope you've enjoyed the last 5 videos of Global Trophyness, and if you have, we'll see you next year for Global Trophy 2018, the 14th annual trophy. I'm Masterath.
I'm Sven-Göran Eriksson 64.
And I'm sure we'll both see you there.
Goodbye.